The Conclave of Wind is the first boss encounter in the Throne of Four Winds. They consist of 3 bosses, Anshel, Rohash and Nazir, with 6.9 million, 6.9 million and 11.6 million HP respectively. For this fight we suggest using 2 tanks, 3 healers and 5 DPS. This guide assumes you are familiar with the mechanics of normal mode. As with normal mode, you'll need to split your raid up into 3 groups. Your tanks will need to be on Anshel and Nazir, while Rohash remains untankable. The 3 healers should also be split up like normal, but beyond these similarities, the encounter is for the most part an entirely new experience. Nazir is the least changed of the 3 bosses. He gains no new abilities, but poses a much bigger threat in terms of damage. Players on this platform will need to be quick getting out of the ice patches, which now hit for significantly more damage, even without the stacking frost debuff. Permafrost, Nazir's frontal breath, is also much more dangerous, and a tank with even a few stacks shouldn't hesitate to use a cooldown for it. Rohash keeps all of his old abilities, with each of them being a bit more deadly if a player messes them up. His new ability, however, makes this platform much more dangerous than Nazir. Rohash casts Storm Shield at 30 energy, which will absorb 150,000 damage. While the shield remains up, he deals 30,000 damage a second to everyone on the platform. Any combination of 2 DPSs with burst damage can be assigned to this platform to deal with this, though rogues in particular shine. While rogues don't have the strongest burst, they do have Cloak of Shadows and reduce fall damage, meaning they can survive an ultimate without any assistance and reset the stacks of Slicing Gale without leaving the platform. This is essential because while Slicing Gale functions much like on normal mode, Storm Shield is nature damage, meaning the increased nature damage debuff is much more dangerous. Anshel, previously the easiest of all platforms, is now by far the most dangerous. He still summons the adds at 30 energy as on normal, but they have a good deal more health. Most importantly, the toxic spores that these adds cast mean certain death for anyone who gets more than 1 or 2 stacks, as it ticks exceptionally harder on heroic. Because of this, players often choose to use a Death Knight to kite the adds around constantly, but we find this unnecessary, as the constraints of losing a DPS for the entire fight can prolong the fight, and the adds are quite easy to kill with a solid strategy. Each time the adds are summoned, a timer appears with any boss mod that indicates when toxic spores is going to be used. Contrary to popular belief, stunning the adds right as toxic spores goes out is not a reliable way to prevent it. The range on toxic spores is very limited, however, and any group can manage to time a few stuns or slows just long enough to move away from the adds. Assign 3 DPS to Anshel's platform to take the adds down and damage the boss. Make sure these players have a solid combination of slows and stuns to deal with the adds. Picking up adds on Anshel's platform is one of the biggest challenges presented by this encounter. Misdirect is an invaluable tool for this, and Paladins and Death Knights have an easier time than other tanks. Nonetheless, the fight is doable without a hunter, and with a warrior or druid picking up the adds with relative ease if executed properly. Players should avoid doing any damage to the adds until after the first Soothing Breeze and Toxic Spores, and tanks have a solid 10 seconds to pick up the adds and establish threat. Once the Toxic Spores is 2 seconds away, have your assigned slows and stuns be used, and have the tank immediately run away from the adds. Use Life Grip, Heroic Leap, Intervene, Stampeding Roar, or any other means to get away quickly after the stuns and slows go out. Once the Toxic Spores are complete, return back to the adds fast and begin AoEing right away. Soothing Breeze will have already gone out and you should finish the adds before the next one is cast. Repeat the process of avoiding Toxic Spores if necessary. However, 3 DPSs should make killing the adds before the second spores trivial. With the assignments of 3 DPS on Anshel's platform, 2 on Rohash's and the aforementioned tank and healer split up, you now have your raid ready to pull the boss. The only times these positions should be changed is prior to an upcoming ultimate. After the adds are dead, your tanks and their assigned healers should swap platforms. Have your Nazir tank drag the boss close to the slipstream at around 75 energy, being sure to face the frontal cone away from the slipstream for incoming DPSs. Immediately after a breath, have your tanks swap. Do not have the healer on Nazir's platform leave. This player remains behind, and is positioned far enough away that Nazir will not melee them. This is to prevent Nazir from meleeing any incoming DPS or healer from the Anshel platform, and to keep another healing on Nazir's platform to help soak and heal the ultimate. So long as you swap at 75 energy or later, your tank on Anshel's platform is in no danger of dying, as Anshel will go into his ultimate long before your tank gets meleeed down. Your tank from Anshel's platform should rapidly taunt the boss, facing him away from the raid and staying in position. Nazir will soon port over to the centre of the room and begin his Sleet Storm. One healer on the platform will have stacks of the Frost debuff, but should have no problem surviving with all the players that will be on Nazir's platform. As soon as the ultimate is finished, the healer with stacks of the Frost debuff should head over to heal their tank, now on Anshel's platform. To assist in this, the Anshel tank should position themselves relatively close to the slipstream from Nazir's platform after the ultimate finishes, so that the healer doesn't have to travel far. All 3 DPSs from Anshel's platform should be on Nazir's for the ultimate, and this window of time is there only to DPS Nazir before you come to his platform to finish the fight. DPS cooldown should be saved for this moment, and the DPSs should stay around Nazir's platform until 10 to 15 energy, making sure to do as much damage as possible. Averaging 20 to 25% per ultimate is a good mark to aim for. Meanwhile, on Rohash's platform, your group should have broken its Storm Shield with 2 DPSs just fine at 30 energy. After that, 1 DPSer should be assigned to stay, and the healer and other DPSer will leave at 75 energy. The player that remains should be someone who is capable of self-healing or who will take very little damage from the ultimate. Shadow Priests, Shamans, Druids, Paladins and Rogues are all great options for this. Note that any player who stays that is incapable of resetting their stacks of Slice and Gale will need to leave the platform before the next ultimate. This also means they'll have several stacks for the Storm Shield. So use a self cooldown or have your healer cooldown you for the Storm Shield. Alternatively, a rogue can handle all of the ultimates with Cloak of Shadows and no rotation need be set up. Whatever route you choose, assign the cooldowns ahead of time to save your raid precious wipes while you learn the mechanics. With the 2 additional players from Rohash's platform, this brings the total on Nazir's platform during each ultimate to 8, making Sleet Storm very easy to survive and 25% an easily achievable DPS mark. For each phase and ultimate, you should aim to bring the bosses down by at least 25%. Depending on your raid DPS, you may have 2 or 3 ultimates before you have Rohash and Anshel low enough to push them over. Make absolutely certain you kill these 2 bosses at similar times. Pushing Anshel while ads are up is risky, but doable so long as you slow the ads and run from them to Nazir's platform. There is no harm in leaving the ads at Anshel's platform as he uses Gather Strength. So long as you successfully pushed Anshel and Rohash at similar times, all players can then head to Nazir's platform. He will most likely do 1 more Sleet Storm before you kill him, but with 10 players on the platform this is no threat. You have 60 seconds to kill the boss, and so long as you've done 25% per ultimate, this should be no problem for a raid group that chose to do 3 ultimates before pushing the boss. If you find yourself well ahead of the DPS mark, consider pushing after 2 ultimates, as we did in this video, and using Heroism or Bloodlust on Nazir to finish him off before Gather Strength completes. This is risky for your first kill, but will limit the number of transitions you do, which are the most dangerous parts of the encounter. Good luck and check out availguild.com for more guides and info about the guild.